Days of Our Lives appearances and goings John Black recast in shocking twist. Days of Our Lives spoilers 12 EJ shooter suspects revealed, but who really pulls the detector? Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. After watching these videos, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Days of Our Lives appearances and goings see the John Black death plot, and it may stun suckers. Has the NBC Peacock cleaner gone ahead and remake the part? We're going to dive into a tableware-haired Riddle Man introduced on the 31st and also completely explored on the April 1st occasion, and what his presence may mean. Days of Our Lives appearances and goings Steve Johnson's huge discovery. On Days this week, Steve Johnson, Marlena Evans, Andrew Donovan and Paul Narita are in Estonia, hot on the heels of John Black, hoping to find him alive. But just as Steve Johnson set up a train entwining Orpheus, it turns out Marlena set up that same villain at her door. Marlena got the better of Orpheus and tied him up, but also Andrew squinched up. And the Joe got loose. Marlena had taken off to meet Steve, while Andrew faces off with Orpheus, who gets the drop on him. But also Paul rides into the deliverance. And he gets the drop on Orpheus. So, with the villain under control, we're going to have Paul heading back over to be with Marlena and Steve and the huge discovery they made. Silver-haired man Riddle is John Black recast on Days of Our Lives? Steve Johnson burst into a room at the installation they were raiding, and Marlena is there right behind him. They see a tableware-haired man drooped over her office, and she's freaking out, asking if it's John. So, the Joe on the office that Marlena worries is John is played by an actor we've not seen ahead. His name is Alan Wayne Anderson. The actor Alan Wayne Anderson posted on his social media about the Days gig, saying when 2 days on set turned into 3 months of a dream job. And he said he'd the most amazing time at Days of Our Lives. So when you see a Joe that fits the same introductory description as John Black in a place where Steve and Marlena know John was probing Orpheus for the ISA, you got to wonder. Addict Fear and revamping Fear's Drake Hodgson's exit strategy on Days. Also, formerly Prince began to circulate showing the Joe's face and him in scenes with Marlena. I saw some fear kind of breaking out on Cleaner's social media. People that had seen the Prince were veritably upset that the Cleaner has remake John Black for this death bow. We all know Drake Hodgson inked off on all of this. Whether this is a recast of John or not, administrative patron Ken Corday approached Drake when he decided they had to address his multi-month absence from the Cleaner pieces. Ken had a plot written that would be the end of John Black's run on the Cleaner, but with Twitch room where if Drake beat the cancer and came back and wanted to work, they would bring the character back. So there was a contingency plan. And obviously, they all hoped that that would be and that he'd recover. Ken laid out the plan and the plot to Drake, who agreed. So this all mugged while the actor was still alive, so again, bear that in mind. April Fool's Day twist? Unraveling the silver-haired man's identity. Back to what's coming April 1st on Days of Our Lives. And the fact that it's April Fool's Day, don't let that tempt you to suppose this isn't real. It's relatively real. So the original fear for Steve and Marlena of seeing an aged tableware-haired Joe injured, laying across the office, is cause for immediate alarm. Steve finds him first. And also we'll see Marlena is there too, but Steve kind of seems to be signaling her back from the injured man. And formerly they show his face. I can see how suckers may be bothered this could be Days revamping John Black. Still, however, there are signs that that's presumably not what this is, if you look at the scene with the three of them. So this picture I'm going to show you, Steve's holding the Joe's head up like at a certain angle. And Marlena is holding a phone up, so they could be showing his face to someone on a videotape converse, perhaps Andrew, perhaps Shane, or it could be that Steve is holding him still, and Marlena is holding the phone up so that they can use his face to unlock the phone. This could be Notoriety who had been working with Orpheus. He might indeed be a lookalike that was trying to trick Steve and Marlena. Appearances and goings Alan Anderson's part and John Black's implicit burial. Still, all that said, he fits the same introductory description as John Black. So in his word for the appearances and goings press release stuff, he's simply listed for now as tableware-haired man. So that isn't a lot to go on, but if you look in the picture at how Marlena is gaping down at this Joe's face while she's holding the phone, it's not a look of love or affection or concern or solicitude. It doesn't look like any of the facial expressions I would anticipate if Marlena was looking at John. And Steve looks like he may also be speaking to notoriety on the phone on Days of Our Lives. But he also doesn't look like he's hunkering next to his stylish friend who's bleeding, who he's upset about. So the aesthetics on their faces has me allowing this as Aunt John. But also the actor twittering that he was originally hired for 2 days but wound up working 3 months is actually troubling. However, they used a body double for Bill Hayes, but they also no way showed that gentleman's face, if you flash back when they mugged Doug Williams' death on Days. So this doesn't feel like that. But in the end, as we know, nethermost line, Days is going to do what Days wants to do. So we might get an advertisement saying the part of John Black is temporarily being played by Alan Anderson. Days of Our Lives John Black goes on? Ken Corday promised that what they've done for John Black's exit is regardful and was done with Drake Hodgson's knowledge and blessing. So then's another indication. However, of course, Alan Anderson said he worked for 3 months, with April being his first full occasion. That means he's appearing through June. Still, and June is when we've a huge pile of Days alums returning, if that information is accurate. And I'm relatively certain this is going to be John Black's burial, just grounded on who's coming and how numerous of them we know are coming, grounded on the timing alone. This actor could be a recast. I hope he's not. I really hope he's not. But the tableware-haired man has a bloody crack. There's always the chance they bring him in. He's John, he's recast, but he's shot. And also he spends weeks in a coma before passing down. I don't know. We'll see. And again, I'm taping this in advance of the April 1st occasion. I'm sure we're going to know a lot further after that airs. And we'll talk about it on our early edition spoilers, which comes out on Wednesday. Days of Our Lives spoilers: 12 EJ shooter suspects revealed, but who really pulls the detector? Days of Our Lives spoilers indicate that 12 EJ DiMera shooter suspects have been revealed, but who'll really pull the detector? Now that Days' long-awaited riddle plot is set to begin, there'll be plenitude of Salemites looking shamefaced. Let's go down the list of the suspects that Days of Our Lives has offered up so far and talk about their motives. It could help narrow effects down when it comes to the malefactor in this instigative whodunit. We clearly wouldn't put it once Kristen DiMera to shoot EJ, especially since he made Rachel Black vanish. That said, this would be a parlous move on Kristen's part, especially since she's upset about further CPS drama. Rafe Hernandez endured a lengthy prison stint and is now furious over what happened while he was out of the picture. Jada Hunter slept with Sean Brady due to Arnold Feniger's conduct, so Rafe has every reason to go after EJ for ruining his life, especially since EJ isn't paying behind bars. Of course, we see and ignore Jada herself as a shooter option since she's upset she might have lost Rafe following her Sean Association concession. Could Jada be angry enough to try and wipe EJ off the chart? Gabby Hernandez nearly shot EJ not too long ago, so she's surely a contender on the list of implicit EJ shooters. You can be sure Gabby will land on the hot seat after EJ takes a pellet, but will she actually be responsible? Johnny DiMera has been milling over munitions in EJ's presence recently and could be tempted to shoot his father over what he did to Sammy Brady. The fact that EJ derailed the relinquishment could be the last straw, so reservations will swirl around revengeful Johnny. Formerly EJ is wounded and rehabilitated. Once Sammy returns to City, she may make some unsettling prognostications about Johnny's guilt and put him through a grilling session. Chanel Dupree DiMera hates to see what Johnny's going through and is angry over the failed relinquishment too, so could she go as far as firing at EJ? It might feel extreme, but Chanel is worth keeping in mind as an implicit malefactor. Now that EJ has blown Chanel and Johnny's chance to borrow Tate Black and Sophia Choi's baby, Paulina Price wants some vengeance of her own. EJ is also escaping justice in the Rafe Pretender exchange case, so could Paulina take matters into her own hands? Kate Roberts Brady told Johnny the true story of his generality and rankled EJ in the process, so EJ delivered some pitfalls against Kate's own children. Now Kate feels indebted to cover her kiddies, so she'd surely be willing to shoot EJ to do that. Once Roman Brady realizes how important of a trouble EJ poses, he'll have a motive to go after the most despised DiMera. Roman could be tempted to just get relief of EJ for good. Belle Black is being presented as a possible shooter suspect as well. EJ tried to act like Belle could no way escape her burning solicitations for him, so could she shoot him to ramify their crooked connection? Sean also has great reasons to detest EJ since he slept with Belle and completely upraised Jada's world. Since EJ isn't paying fairly, could Sean decide to make him pay a different way? Melinda Trask let Ava Vitali adopt a gun that Ava's formerly been tempted to use multiple times. It looks like Ava will dispose of that armament after EJ gets shot, but will she be to condemn or just a case of misdirection? Naturally, there'll be other implicit EJ shooters who get revealed over time, but Days is starting effects off with these 12 suspects. In reality, the true malefactor will probably be someone completely unanticipated who emerges as a last nanosecond suspect down the road. As other news comes in regarding this Days whodunit, we'll bring you updates on any other possible detector as Scullers. It's too early to say for sure who'll fire at EJ, but Days of Our Lives spoilers confirm he'll survive the medical extremity ahead. Thanks for watching these videos. Please hit the subscribe button for more updated news.